Well, hello from Access Your True Nature Cat Central. I was woken up with my one cat, Splish Splash, who has the most beautiful whiskers. I was hoping that she'd come and show you how beautiful she is and that she really is the cat's whiskers along with the others in my house. Um, and what it means, cats have these beautiful 12 mystical whiskers that are neatly arranged in 4 rows on each side of their muzzle. If you've ever taken up drawing or sketching, how closely have you looked at your cat's whiskers or admired the length and the way that they're so beautifully ombre sometimes? And in my case, I know Toby, who was my beautiful connection to the white lions in Timbavati, had the most beautiful mane and the most incredibly long whiskers, and he had one black one on the one side. And when I asked him what that was, he said that was his special antenna to tap in and keep the dogs under control. So it's always amazing, what animals have to say about their coats. Did you also know that cats are the only species that I know of that have a real say? They take their design of their coats very seriously, and they're actually very involved in designing what their coats are going to look like. But back to the whiskers, because I want to talk about twisted sisters and their cat's whiskers. And let me know too, if you're listening to this on the replay, if you're enjoying these more frequent bursts of love and doses of body mind medicine and animal communication to help you trust that you're enough for your cat, and to know your cat and deepen your relationship so that you can actually meet their needs a whole lot better. So back to a little bit of anatomical lesson for you. Just like horses, it incenses me when people shave their horses' whiskers off, because they're such a vital part of that animal's survival. And the same goes for our dogs and for any other species that have whiskers like cats. They're very vital to the cat's well-being and their livelihood, and they're actually the first hairs to develop in the womb. If you've ever seen any of those beautiful National Geographic documentary series of the development of cats in the womb, you see these first hairs that they get are their whiskers, and they're much longer and thicker than normal hairs and embedded 3 times deeper into the skin, where each whisker follicle is actually attached, just like horses and dogs, to this very highly sensitive, attuned bundle of nerves. Because this is how cats find their way in the dark, right? Because their whiskers give them feedback to their environment. Because those sensory receptors that each whisker is tipped with are communicating with vibrations and touch, and then sending that information back to their brain so that they can keep themselves safe and also find prey. What kitty doesn't like to hunt? And that makes these whiskers very super sensitive tactile organs, just like in horses, just like in other species, that are capable of detecting the slightest movement, including air currents, that are transmitting complex information about prey and safety, and serving as a very finely tuned measuring device. It's like their internal GPS, where they're plugged in to the big Google in the sky. And you all know, because you love your cats and I'm sure admire them and give great ceremony when you're telling them how beautiful they are, which all cats actually demand of their human servants, that they have 3 sets. They've got those superciliary eyebrows, and they've got a little few mandibular ones on their chin, and then they have this long set of muzzle whiskers, right? The myostatial, which I like to call the 12 mystical whiskers. They're wands that are neatly arranged either side of their face and their nose. And these 2 upper rows, because remember they have 4 rows on either side. But the two upper rows, if you really pay attention, they move very independently. They move forward and they move backward of those two lower rows. And it's in that movement that allows the whiskers to communicate a cat's mood. So if they were in a pride of lions, these are the microfacial movements that I've always been fascinated by microfacial movements. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Lie to Me, but I love that because it's based upon the work of a man who actually developed how to pick up microfacial movements in people. So I want to share with you a little bit today about what you can look for in your cat's whiskers, right? So that we don't get twisted up in what they're actually feeling and asking for us. So if you look at neutral or friendly position, in a very happy, contented, or relaxed cat, the whiskers are all in a neutral position. They're slightly to the side, but they're neutral. When they're interested, so when they're like really focusing on pouncing, or they're interested in a toy, or they're playing together, when they're really, that cat's interest is very engaged, these whiskers pull forward and they kind of fan out, and the mouth is closed with very loose lips. So their muzzle appears to be slightly pumped up. So the whiskers also fan out and move forward when a cat is hunting. And it's a beautiful thing to see, whether in the wild or in your living room, to actually just see just how engaged that intercommunication is on those nerve receptors from the whiskers, and them dialing in on the pounce, for example. When cats are fearful or anxious or stressed, have you noticed that the whiskers begin to move slightly back? So if that escalates, that fear and anxiety and stress, and we were talking about how to calm anxious cats a couple of days ago, you'll see the whiskers are pulled very far back, further, and the ears move further to the side as well. So the whiskers and the ears are very dynamic in their communication, in knowing what state your cat is in and the body language that they're using. When you take it one step forward, so when you see anxiety as fear aggression, for example, the whiskers and their sidekicks, the ears, clue us in on a cat's aggression. And I wish my cat would come here. She's just sitting there cleaning her whiskers right now. That, you have to be aware, and you want to be aware of the warning that the cat is not feeling safe. They're looking to defend themselves. And you can notice, because as I said, the whiskers pull back tightly, and you can see that there is, in the case of very offensive aggression, the whiskers and the ears point forward. But for a full read, you want to be sure to notice the ears also. Are they likely pulled back, as well as the eyes and the body and the tail position? Is there tension in the body? Are they sort of wired to defend themselves and attack? What's going on with the cat? And also remember that cats are very good. Most animals are incredibly good at hiding pain and illness. And cats are really good at this, because in the wild, that would mean that they would be singled out as weak, or be kicked out of the herd or the pride, because of the safety of the herd. But when we look at facial expression of a cat that's in pain, oftentimes what you'll see, excuse me, I needed to have a swallow there. What you start to see is a lot of physical changes, in increased tension over the nose and the cheeks and the muzzle. It becomes very tight. There's a clenching of the jaws. And I know that, as I said, this takes a little bit of practice, but the more that you study your cat, and their disposition anyway, because nobody knows you better than your cat. Hello, Rover. You're going to pick these cues up, and sometimes it can be the difference between a life and death situation. So, if you think your cat is in pain, don't don't hesitate. Go and check out, because most of the time that intuitive connection is so deep and so strong that, just like we do with our human children, when something is amiss. And of course, please, 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 I wish I could get every person that owns a horse out there to hear me too. Don't trim off their whiskers. God made them that way because they have a very vital function in the health and well-being and safety of that animal. So never cut your cat's whiskers. It's not only painful, but it impairs their ability to hunt and to navigate their environment, especially in the dark, because they become disoriented and fearful because they've lost their spidey senses. So don't pull on a cat's whiskers either. That's kind of like tugging on a Superman's cape. And when you learn to recognize and understand what's being communicated to you by the cat's whiskers and their other subtle body language, your cat may think you're a superhero too, because you're starting to really listen and create a sense of safety and trust for them to express themselves fully, and for you to deepen into right relationship through animal communications, through being able to meet their needs through body work and dietary needs and entertainment purposes. So enjoy this incredible sensory, whiskery tale, the mystical 12 that shape your cat's personality and character and look. And let me know if you like this video, or you would like to share it with other cat lovers or other animals lovers out there. Please do, because the more of us that actually start to come from a place of compassionate listening, the more we start to trust our intuitive nonverbal cues from our animals, the better the world will be, because you cannot but develop more compassion and connection and compassion from that space of, I see you, I love you. And they come with so many lessons to teach us how to really tap into our own spidey senses as well. So animals are amazing teachers if we would just listen. And when it comes from a place of mindful regard and mutual cooperation, trust just builds and life gets so much more beautiful. So that's it for today's dose of body mind medicine. Go and give your cat a love and tell it that it really is the cat's whiskers. And we'll meet you back here soon. Have a beautiful day wherever you are. Bye.